Hello, welcome to Sound of Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell. This is a book coming out April 2nd, 2024. It's a fantasy, horror, romance from Daw. I received this book from NetGalley in exchange for a fair review. All I can say about this book before I tell you what it's about is that it is an acquired taste. Shishi Shen has made a mistake fatal to all monsters. She's fallen in love. Shishi Shen is a shapeshifter who happily resides as an amorphous lump at the bottom of a ruined manor. When her rest is interrupted by hunters intent on murdering her, she constructs a body from the remains of past meals, a metal chain for a backbone, a bored bones for limbs, and a bear trap as an extra mouth. However, the hunters chase Shishi Shen out of her home and off a cliff. Badly hurt, she's found and nursed back to health by Homily, a warm-hearted human who has mistaken Shishi Shen for a fellow human. Homily is kind and nurturing and would make an excellent co-parent, an ideal place to lay Shishi Shen's eggs so their young could devour Homily from the inside out. But as they grow close, she realizes humans don't think about love that way. Shishi Shen hates keeping her identity secret from Homily, but just as she's about to confess, Homily reveals why she's in the area. She's hunting a shape-shifting monster that supposedly cursed her family. Has Shishi Shen seen it anywhere? Eating her girlfriend isn't an option. Shishi Shen didn't curse anyone, but to give herself and Homily a chance at happiness, she has to figure out why Homily's twisted family thinks she did. As the hunt for the monster becomes increasingly deadly, Shishi Shen must unearth the truth quickly, or both their lives will be at risk. And the bigger challenge remains, surviving her toxic in-laws long enough to learn to build a life with, rather than in, the love of her life. That was a very long blurb. I was really looking forward to this novel because it sounded so incredibly weird, and it is incredibly weird. It's dark, the concept is kind of wacky, and there's lots of blood, though I wouldn't really call it gory per se. Unfortunately, while the wackiness, lesbians, and occasional humor kept me reading, the insta-love and meandering plot didn't quite work for me. It is still a very good book, though. I do recommend it if you want something very strange. I will say Shishi Shen is a fascinating character. She's a blob monster, as you heard. She can shapeshift into human form. She's also unsure what she wants. First, it's simply to get the monster hunters off her back. Then, when she meets Homily, to decide whether she wants a relationship or just a host for her egg. Because she's a monster, she doesn't really understand humans that well, so there's some good, fish out of water moments that were really fun. Her character is well rendered, and the way she absorbs and uses the body parts of the people she eats is very easy to picture, and it doesn't come across as disturbing, just kind of a normal thing a creature would do. That was kind of the really good thing about this book. It has this perfect balance between this should be disturbing and this isn't. It could be because of the tone. The tone of the story is quite light. There's body horror and death and lots of family trauma, but the atmosphere carries this sort of breeziness to it that made everything that happens, which could be horrific, not so. There's also some really funny parts of the book, like development with a minor noble that I wish we had more of because that was so funny. Shishi Shen's accidental jokes, and some quips in the narrative voice. It was a very entertaining book. The novel also touches on abuse, self-esteem, and breaking away from toxic family members. In truth, while I understood the novel doesn't have the space to do a whole workover of Homily's psyche, the aspects revolved a bit too easily for me, but that might be mainly because of the insta-love. Yet, I appreciated how the story had a person leaving their toxic family for someone who appreciates them and cares for them. That was a very uplifting part of the novel. My biggest issue with the story is not a narrative craft thing, as I thought the writing and world building were well done, as I've kind of said, but a personal thing. I can't stand insta-love. It's a trope that I am not fond of. I don't understand it. How can you fall in love with someone in a day? I don't know. You barely know them. I guess the draw for other readers is that you get to see the relationship develop and grow, and maybe that's the thing that's interesting to them, rather than the build up to a relationship, which is kind of what I like. I mean, I get that, but for me, once a couple gets together, I tend to lose interest in their story. This book has a romance developed so quickly that there was nothing for me to ship. And I love ships. Maybe that's why I love boating so much. Anyway, I was a bit let down on that front, as well as when the plot tended to stall out a few spots around the middle. There were some parts kind of in the mid-range area of the book where I was like, where is this going? Overall, though, I appreciated the book's weirdness, the normalization of monster-human romances coming into mainstream media, and the attempt to say something about breaking away from toxic family, as I think that is a very topical topic and an important one. So yeah, thanks again to NetGalley for the e-arc and to the publishers as well.